Hello, and welcome back to the On the Gas podcast for episode 7. We discuss many things, including British Superbikes, World Superbikes, MotoAmerica, of course, and MotoGP, and what we could see this weekend. Of course, we also delved into Valentino Rossi's comments on the podcast, Minyo's podcast as well.
Yeah, not ours.
No,
not our podcast.
No, thank
God.
God.
Had Rossi on.
Yeah, that would be quite cool, actually. But yes, his podcast comments and everything else in between. So I hope you enjoy listening and, well, yeah, enjoy.
See you in a bit.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of the On the Gas podcast. I hope you are well. I am joined by Cameron and Lauren, as always.
What's up?
Hello.
Episode 7 already.
Crazy. Time flies when you're having fun.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fun being the operable word there, apparently.
Yes.
So I don't need to ask you how you are because it's clearly terrible, and we can just move on, I guess.
I'm great. I don't know
Great.
about you. What gave you that impression? I'm so good.
don't know.
Lauren, like, the sun is shining. It's
Yeah.
been warm today. Indian
Yeah.
summer day.
Yeah.
Can't complain.
True. How was Alton Park, Lauren?
Oldham Park was fab. I've never actually been before, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I love it, and I will definitely be back. Apart
Yeah.
from the rain on Sunday, minus that, it was a really good weekend.
Yeah, it seemed good. I mean, I didn't see too much of the BSB at the weekend, but I did see that Tommy Bridle crashed in race 1. Then Carl
Yep.
Ride won to take the championship lead.
Yeah.
Then Carl Ride had a disaster of a race 2,
Yeah.
lost the title lead, and now
Yeah.
won race 3. So now Tommy leads it again.
Yeah. So Kyle led it by 6 points after Saturday, and now Tommy leads it by 6 points after
Oof.
Sunday. So it's close, and that was the start of the showdown rounds too. So
Yeah.
points make
Points are
prizes at this
close.
stage. So it's very exciting. And Glenn took a big chunk out as well, so he is still mathematically able to win the championship. I think
Yeah,
maybe some of
2
the other
races to
guys are
go.
too. But yeah.
Yeah, that's right. It looked really good. And I saw that in the Supersport class, Luke Stapleford and Jack Kennedy are tied on points.
Ooh, I
I
hadn't
think they got
realised
300,
that.
it's either 300 or 248 each. Yeah.
Ooh.
Wow. Spicy. The
Spicy.
domestic classes are really great this year. They so are.
Yeah, Superstock's
Yeah.
really close as well. Davy Todd and Joe Talbot, I think, are split by about 5 points as well. So
It's crazy.
that's going to be good.
Yeah,
Amazing.
it will. Yeah, it really will be good. Yeah, and there was a few rumours that came out as well. I've heard one about Ryan Vickers. I mean, Joe Talbot got confirmed, of course, at OMG. So you're like,
Yeah.
who's out? And then I saw a rumour earlier on Twitter by the Racing Armchair that said
Yeah.
that it would be Kyle, Vickers, and Talbot in a 3-rider team. But I've also heard rumours of Vickers going to either Moto Corsa Ducati in World Superbike or Moto 2, which is interesting.
I've also heard that possibly Bradley Ray, Kyle
Is back.
Ride, Joe Talbot
Yeah.
as the OMG lineup for next season. So
Yes,
just to
that was
throw one
right.
out there, I have also heard the rumours about Vickers moving from the championship. I don't know where, but I have heard maybe the Moto 2 and maybe he's going to the World Superbike paddock as well. And that maybe it would be Kyle Ride and Joe Talbot lining up just in the 2 bikes next year. But I don't know. It makes it very, very exciting. Anyway.
Yeah, I'm quite excited for it, to be honest, especially if we have Vickers in Moto 2. I mean, he's very young still. I think he got promoted to the Superbike class after he won the Stock 600 series a few years ago, and it's taken a few years to adapt, but now he's there and he's on it. And I don't think he's in with the championship win this year, but he's shown that he's a consistent race
He's
winner
fast.
this year.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
Moto 2 could be good. Like you said, Jake Dixon made it work. We need more Brits in Moto2 after Rory got kind of cast aside, shall we say. So I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, now it's the age to go. As far as I'm aware, Vickers was born in 1999.
Okay, so 25.
So 24, 25, like, I think now I would have to be, if he's going to
Yeah.
make it work,
It's 25.
he would have to go and sign for a good team and get up there fast in the hopes that you never know what could work out.
Yeah, definitely. Hopefully the fact it's Pirelli's now as well. It's just a Pirelli switch.
Yeah.
That's one less thing that, you know, could make that transition easier. Also, that didn't work in Rory's favor as well when he went over. So, you know, it could work. We know he's got speed. All for it. Is there any like indication of where in Moto2, or is it just
It's
Moto2?
just a fresh rumor? Yeah, just Moto2.
Right, fair.
But
No
speaking
teams.
of Rory, also we can tie that into his ex-teammate Sean Dillon Kelly, who took his first ever MotoAmerica win at the weekend. That was amazing to see. He's been on fire all year long, Sean Dillon Kelly, and I think we've had him on the podcast 3 times now. And yeah, he's either twice or 3 times, but absolute legend is Sean. And he was also running a livery earlier that week. He went to a children's hospital, gave them all pens and markers, and were like, draw on my bike. So they all drew like little designs and stuff on his bike, and then he raced and won in that livery that they'd all drawn on his bike.
Oh,
amazing!
Yeah.
One of them must have done some Go Faster stripes.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
I love that.
But yeah, so that was just amazing to see. Like, Sean is genuinely one of the nicest guys in racing you'll see. And yeah, he fully deserves that. And I'm absolutely buzzing for him. But it's hotting up a lot in MotoAmerica because Jake Gagne, 2-time champion, 3-time champion? I think it's 3. He's multiple time champion anyway, isn't racing now because he's injured. So he's not going to retain his title this year. Going into the weekend just gone, it was Sean's actually 4th in the championship and he's 5 points behind Bobby Fong. But the championship is now down to just 2 riders, with Josh Herrin leading Cameron Bobier into the final round by 46 points, with 75, I believe it is, on the table. They often do 3-round weekends. That's going to be interesting because Bobier won 2 of the races at the weekend, and then Sean Dillon won the other one, and Josh Herrin was second, and third, I believe. So,
yeah,
could see some swaps at the top. And yeah, Bobby Fong is now out of contention on his privateer Yamaha. But yeah, it was great to see. I mean, Josh Herrin's been on fire all year. He was running a special livery over the weekend for Mr. Let's have a look. I'm going to get it up because I'll say his name. Because it was a really nice throwback livery to... Oh, what's his name? Basically, 1994 MotoAmerica champion or AMA champion raced for the team owned by Eldorado. Eraldo, there you go, Ferrucci.
Nice.
There we go, butchered that one. And he builds bikes, tunes them, and stuff like that. And so Josh Herrin ran a tribute livery to the Fast by Ferrucci brand. Who won 1994 AMA Superbike Championship? Was won by Troy Corser. That's it. So quite a big name, and they've won Superbike races and championships. So yeah, it was really cool livery, cool little tribute. But yeah, MotoAmerica's been really good. Rocco Lander's actually won a baggers race as well. It's for the first time ever.
Nice.
So
nice.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, that was the racing weekend just gone. But fortunately, there was some very sad news as well with very popular influencer Luca Salvadori, who I think it's a name that kind of rings out quite a lot. I mean, I was watching his World Ducati Week video pretty much last week, and a lot of people in the comments on my posts said the same, and like 400,000+ followers on Instagram. He was a road racer. He was a championship, the CIV National Championship rider as well. And yeah, he did a road race. It's a sad story really, because he one of the championships he was competing in had 5 rounds, and he was crowned champion after round 4. So with a round to go. So he was like, well, I'm not going to compete in the last one. I'll go and race in the International Road Racing Championship in Germany on the same race weekend that the other one would have been on. Did that as a wild
Right.
card. Tragically lost his life in that event in a sad little butterfly effect. But yeah, it was a nice gesture actually by one of the teams he was racing against. I think I can't remember the rider's name.
Begins with a P, the
Yes,
team,
it does.
right?
Yeah, but they have basically forfeited
terrible.
their results for the end of the year so that Salvadori can be crowned champion posthumously, which is a genuinely really lovely kind of gesture to do. And yeah, he will be sadly missed. I mean, his videos of NASCAR, stuff like that. I used to binge watch all of NASCAR's videos, and he was in all them, and yeah, it's very sad.
Yeah, it's just there's no words for when this kind of thing happens, unfortunately. Yeah, but they know the risk they're taking with the road racing. It's very sad.
Yeah, that was it.
What more can we say? Yeah.
Yeah, it was a team of...
yeah.
Sorry, carry on.
No,
talking over you.
I think no, you've hit all the points there. It's tragic, and yeah, it's upsetting, and it's a harsh reminder of how dangerous the sport is, and unfortunately the dark side to a sport that we love so much.
Yeah, that's it. Especially 2 in 2 weeks, or 2 in a week, really.
Yeah,
because of obviously Harga's son last weekend, and the rider was actually Filippo Ravelli, who was Manuel Gonzalez's teammate a few years ago in Supersport 300. He is not racing the last round so that Salvadori can win the championship. Yeah, really nice gesture. Kind of the horrible things like this kind of bring out the best in people, you find quite a lot. So yeah, I mean, sad start to the podcast, but yeah, he will be missed. And you saw all the tributes and stuff from Pekka by Naya and all that as well.
Yeah,
clearly a very liked character and will be sorely missed. And yeah, I just want to pay our respects, really.
Yeah.
Yes, so this weekend is another there we go.
Whoa.
Double race weekend with World Superbike and MotoGP racing on Italian San Marinian soil, with World Superbike going over to Cremona in Italy and Misano hosting the MotoGP round.
I've been checking the forecast.
Yeah, it is. They had to cancel something tomorrow because it's raining.
Yeah. So weather's going to come into it. I haven't checked the weather today. Obviously for the days ahead, but it looks like things could get kind of interesting. Old Marc Marquez is going to be rubbing his hands again, thinking, "Here we go, more iffy
Rain
conditions."
Dance.
Yeah, maybe he can take another 25.
Okay, I'm going to rain on your parade.
Oh, is that a pun? Or...
Well, kind of, because it's going to be sunny on Sunday, apparently.
Okay, what about Saturday, though?
Sunny.
Cool.
And possible rain on Friday.
Right. No, that's fine. It'll change again tomorrow, it seems. Yeah. Last I checked, it was raining Saturday. So.
That's Apple weather. There is a severe weather warning.
Yeah.
Until midnight tonight, or midnight tomorrow night in the area for severe rain and wind and thunder, etc. Rain for the rest of the week, but then sunny at the weekend.
Yeah,
so
everything I've just checked is sunny.
Knows?
Yeah.
Yeah, but Saturday and Sunday look lovely, actually.
They do, actually. Yeah.
22 degrees.
My app now says this. Okay, weather, forget about it.
It's in the bin.
It's in the bin currently at the point of this podcast and predictions. So
it should be a good, interesting weekend, though. I mean, it's funny. It's not funny, but Jonathan Rea won't be racing at the weekend in Superbike.
No, definitely
that isn't
not
funny.
No, but the funny part is that he will be replaced by Nicolo Canepa, who was retired for officially 1 day before getting the call. Yeah, his final race was EWC in France at the weekend, the Bol d'Or, won by Cert. By the way, Suzuki won the World Championship this year. Congratulations to Suzuki. And I like that they were on the podium with a big sign saying "Thank you, Albert," because Albert Arenas filled in for one of their riders earlier this year. So they had a
Yes.
"Thank you, Albert" sign. But yeah, Canepa was part of the Yamaha squad, had to retire from the race because of a tyre issue, and was like, right, final race, career done, finish. 2 days later, or a day and a bit later, I'm replacing Jonathan Reyes weekend.
Yeah. World Superbikes, factory Yamaha team. In you
Yeah.
pop.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it.
I mean, they've called it nice and early too, which is good. Jonathan's hand is obviously, it needs more recovery time. I haven't heard anything about Batista or Toprak
Or
yet,
Toprak, yeah, I was thinking that.
which is interesting, but I think Johnny's done the right thing here. You know, he's not in with a shout at the championship this year. It's been a pretty rubbish season, to be honest. It hasn't gone the way he's wanted it to, and he's struggled a lot. And I think he's openly said that quite a bit too. So, yeah, right decision. Take the extra time out to recover and let someone else step in and go ahead and do it. So, yeah, I think it's a good shout and it'll be interesting, especially if the likes of Toprak, etc., also have to sit the weekend out. I think it could make for another weekend of very exciting racing in World Superbikes.
And it's a brand new track as well.
Yeah, well, that too. Yeah.
Cremona.
So, anything
Yep.
could happen.
Well, there's a rider who I'm very interested in because he replaced Dominic Agata the other weekend. Oh, yeah. Marvin Fritz will also replace Dominic Agata. So Canepa is racing against his Yamaha EWC teammate this weekend again because Fritz will replace
Cool.
Domi. Alessandro Dal Bianco, who's an Italian rider, races in CIV for Yamaha, will be racing as Bradley Ray's teammate this weekend as a wildcard in the Moto X squad, supported by Yamaha Italy. Italian rider. He's probably raced there more recently than anybody else on that grid. Could spring up as a prize.
Have a head start.
Has any of the riders really been around this circuit? Have they done any testing or anything around here?
Let's have a look. I'm not 100%
Because I'm just thinking the
sure.
Women's World Championship is also back on again this weekend, so that could maybe throw up a surprise result. I know for a lot of the girls anyway, they're going to circuits that they haven't raced at before, but
yeah, I mean,
we could maybe
Neela's
see
raced
something
there.
different.
Yeah, we might do. Yeah, I mean, yeah, Neela's raced there. The girl who I keep saying who's like 5th place every race, I can't remember her name. That is like, we always say she's going to be on it.
Sarah Sanchez?
No, not Sarah Sanchez. That's going to annoy me. That
I know the one you mean.
she's got short hair. Italian girl.
Ponziani.
That's it. Yeah, she'll know the track. I'm quite excited actually because there is a wild card in Australian what's her name? Avalon Biddle. I'm going to butcher her name. I don't want to do that.
I'm so bad with names.
There you go. Yeah, Avalon Biddle. I did get it right.
Yeah.
Avalon Biddle's doing a wild card this weekend as well. Quite excited for that because she is one of the fastest Australian female racers. Was actually in World Supersport 300 a few years ago as well. She also raced in the stock Honda Cup thing that Augusto Fernandez won a few years ago as well. It was basically what Supersport 300 replaced.
Right.
So she raced in that as well. So fast rider, got some talent. Quite excited to see how she stacks up against the other riders as well. But yeah, World Superbike this weekend at Cremona. Not sure yet on Toprak and Bautista. It is only Tuesday that we're recording this one. So maybe they could be in, maybe they could be out. If Toprak is in, will he be race fit? No. Can he win races?
There's no way he's race fit.
Odds on he's going to win. If he races, he'll win.
Well,
I don't know.
Like if he's race fit and somehow has the physical capacity to ride a bike at 100% for 40 minutes or whatever, then like you would favor Toprak to win. Surely, even on a new track where nobody's ever been before, he does seem to have just that extra little thing, and there's no like teams don't have heaps of data to go from. It's just pure. It's a leveler a new track like this. But I mean, I can't see the hit that he took less than 2 weeks ago. I cannot believe that the protective gear would allow him to be in like fully race fit mode for this weekend. Like, surely
Airbags are wonderful things.
they are, but like he was going so fast and he hit a solid, pretty much a solid wall. Like, come on,
just a ragdoll. Like,
surely not.
no.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he will try and race unless they obviously declare him unfit beforehand. But I think he will try and start the weekend. Whether or not he finishes the weekend, and I mean that just by maybe he'll get on the bike and go, that's not for me. Or he races round and just gathers a few points if he can. Because although Boulega isn't close to him in the championship, missing another full 3 races, there is a chance that the championship could close up to the point where it would be quite worrying for Toprak.
Yeah. There's always that chance, isn't there? Especially if you're missing too many races.
Yeah.
I think out of the remaining riders, though, I'd quite fancy an experienced head like Sam Lowes or someone.
I was thinking Alex.
Sorry, Alex is what I meant. Sorry.
I think Sam could be up there, but I think someone like Alex could really capitalize on this because he's not far behind Batista in the championship for 3rd place, and that could be massive again if Batista's not fit and has to sit out.
Well, that's what I mean.
Alex Lewis could really capitalize, or maybe like Scott Redding or Vandermark again. I think could maybe be up there. Yeah,
those who know just how to ride these bikes, basically, and it is purely just down to all they got to do is learn a track.
Yeah, the talent I think will rise to the top this weekend, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it'll be a very good weekend, and so will MotoGP, which is the meat and bones, shall we say? Meat and bones? I don't even know. After
meat and potatoes.
That's it.
Meat and bones, everybody.
I swear to God, like in normal life, I'm fine. I can say these sentences normal. As soon as that mic's recording, just
I met you in real life.
True.
It's a lie. So to the meat and bones.
Yeah.
You can't try and talk your way out of this one. We've both met you. We know what you're like in real life.
That's true.
He's a dafty. He's
just a mess, to be honest. But yes, the meat and potatoes of this podcast, of course, MotoGP. We're expecting Pramac Yamaha to confirm, well, it's not Pramac Yamaha yet, but Pramac team to confirm Jack Miller later this week for next year's Pramac Yamaha effort. I'm okay with Jack Miller. I'm not like wildly against it, especially as they're developing for next year. I can't see it being a bad thing. Whether it'll be a 1 year or 2 year deal, Oliveira's got a 2 year deal. He's yet to see. Again, I think a 2 year deal would be good because it takes him just up to that 2027 regulation change. And from there, then they can change their lineup and do what they need to do to then secure young talent and results next year. But giving 2 older riders the chance to develop a bike for the next 2 years and then do testing on the side for the 2027 project, I'm not against that.
Yeah, I mean, it probably will be 2 years just based on the fact that the regulation changes are in 2 years. But yeah, I don't know. I said my thoughts on what I think about Jack Miller shining to Pramac before, so I'm not gonna beat the dead horse.
Poke that bear.
I had a like, I don't know. I had a think about what you were saying about that. Just to myself on my little notepad. Lawrence said this. No, I was
like,
I didn't write anything down. I can't write, so
do your journal.
So you can write.
And like, yeah, sure. 1 minute Pramac were saying, "Oh, you're not doing enough to bring in young talent or whatever," and that was one of the reasons for leaving Ducati. And then they go in. It looks like are signing 2 like experienced, kind of long in the tooth riders now. But then also like they're bringing in a new bike. We think likely Yamaha, although not official, is it's just one less thing to worry about, right? Because there's going to be so much change happening in that team. Or like, let's at least just get riders that know how to ride one of these bikes. For God's sake,
Yeah.
like just do that
Yeah.
for a couple of years. Like you say, they can develop the 2027 project on the side and give feedback. Because we said last time as well, between them, they've ridden every manufacturer on this grid. It's just,
Yeah.
it's just it's a very safe signing on both counts, I would say.
Yeah, I'd
So
agree.
that were the thoughts that I wrote down for you. Okay.
I agree with those thoughts, by the way, before everyone thinks that I'm really hating on them. I would have liked to have seen young talent being brought up.
Yeah.
But it's softened the blow ever so slightly knowing that we've got, 3 rookies coming in next year. So
Yeah.
I'm not too mad about it. I can let it be for now.
Good.
Yeah, good. I'm glad.
I'll tell them you're all right with it.
Yeah, everyone can let Pramac know that I'll let it slide this time round. But next time, we're going to have beef.
Yeah, we're going to have problems.
You're going to have meat and bones.
That's it. God. Anyway, it was also announced today that MotoGP have hired a new communications director in a new global marketing role. They have hired a lady called Kelly Brittain from Red Bull Advanced Technologies Limited, which of course runs Red Bull Racing in Formula One. She's got experience working for DAZN and a lot of other blue chip companies. Her role, so she will report to Dan Rosamondo, who's the Chief Commercial Officer and came over from the NBA earlier last year. And her role in tandem with him will basically be to improve and generate more exposure of the sport to fans. Her role is more of a central fan based role in terms of the fact that she wants to basically grow the sport to the masses the same way Formula One has seen that growth. She, of course, was in the center of that because she worked for Red Bull at the time. She's worked for Red Bull for about 3 years now. Therefore, she knows what she's doing. And Dorna making these, hires, shall we say, going into the next few years shows a signal of intent that they want to really grow the sport and push it to the masses. And Liberty Media coming over as well is a big thing, of course. Obviously, if that goes through with the EU, because a gentleman who, I think the guy who owns Formula E, complained a little bit about it and said, that they're creating a monopoly and things like that. So there could be some contention with that. But MotoGP and Dorna, anyway, are trying to basically grow the sport to be what F1 now is, I think.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's a blueprint there. Obviously, you can't just completely copy what F1 did. I think with how it happened, I think lockdown played a massive part in the growth of Formula One and it being Drive to Survive being on Netflix at the time, etc., etc. I don't think you can replicate that part of it, but you can definitely put into place a lot of the things that they've done since that. And obviously, Drive to Survive has continued to be very, very successful, which is a massive part of it. And even just, I don't follow much Formula One, but the amount of content that I see and gets pushed my way is
Everywhere.
crazy. And I think the big thing as well, which we've spoken about before, obviously, I think fan pages and stuff like that is a massive thing. And allowing the fans to actually share the content, talk about the content, use the videos, use the pictures is a massive, massive step. And hopefully in the near future, that is the step that MotoGP are going to make. But just looking at the names that they've hired or have brought in within the last couple of years, obviously Dan Rosamondo being one. I know Fran Wild has had a promotion in the last little while, and I've spoken to Fran before, and she's incredible. So knowing that she's maybe moved into a different role is good. And then now this as well. they're definitely taking steps in the right direction. We've also spoken to people who work within the social media in MotoGP, and hearing what they have to say and their ideas and how they want to work with people in the future, even if it was just a short chat, I think is really, really positive. And for once, I'm sort of going, okay, I'm liking where this is going, and I'm going to sort of give it a little while to sort of see where this goes. But I'm really, really excited, especially if the Liberty Media stuff can happen, because I think that is a fantastic move, a fantastic deal if all goes ahead and it can, if it can work out and we can go the way that F1 has.
Yeah, I think.
I have nothing to add, really.
Okay, that's all right.
Cool. Perfect.
All right, we'll just end it there then, yeah?
Yeah,
See you
thanks.
next week.
Catch you later. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I saw something earlier or the other day as well. I think I was just aimlessly scrolling through Reddit, to be honest, and it was a post, and it was a random person in some random forum, and they said, like, they asked, what is it about girls and Formula One at the moment? You know, and they were like, for me, obviously I'm speaking of from this person and what they said, not me personally, but they said that, you know, years ago, 10, 15 years ago, when they were growing up, it was only lads and guys that were really into Formula One, and they'd go and sit and watch it with their dad, whilst their girls, like the sisters of the girls of the family, the women of the family, would go and do whatever they want to do and not watch this cars go around the track. But now they say when they go on their dating apps and stuff like that, a lot of the girls, like their bio, I guess, on the apps, they say, "What's your ideal Sunday? Oh, a roast dinner," because we're in the UK, a walk, and then Formula One. Yeah, and most of them will have Formula One in their bio as being something they like doing. And you look in the crowds, and it's a lot. There's a lot more women in the sport, and you go on social media, and there's a lot more women talking about the sport than men. I go on TikTok, for example. There's a lot more women speaking about it as well. And when then you switch to MotoGP, and I go on Everything Motor Racing and go on the actual, you know, the balance of gender of who's actually following the page. It's like 80% men and 20% women. And somehow Formula One has worked out the code to get a lot more women into the sport, which is great, which has in turn seen the massive rise, because then these girls who are into Formula One are meeting guys who are into Formula One, and then them getting their friends into Formula One. I don't know why the girls would be meeting the guys would have a thing, but you know what I mean? They're together, and then they go to the
Well,
races together, and then the crowds get bigger because of it, and it just compounds upwards.
yeah. I think as well, the big thing is that the girls are meeting the girls.
Yeah,
I have
that's
been a
true.
bike
Yeah.
fan my whole life, whether I ever acknowledged it as a child or not. Like, I used to sit down in front of the TV on a Sunday from when I was in a high chair to now with my dad and, you know, sometimes other members of family too. Like, we used to have people around on a Sunday too, and the races would be on. Like, that was been my Sunday for 25 years. Like, I would say a lot of these girls have actually watched it a lot longer than they're maybe letting on. But you're right,
Maybe.
it's become acceptable now that they're allowed to talk about it, and they find other girls who are also interested in the sport, and finding that on social media, it's easy to sort of
Jump
chat to
into it.
people, like-minded people. You can join groups, you can follow pages. It's how I found a lot of people who I am friendly with now. A very similar thing of people online who are like-minded, who have maybe posted something. I typed in MotoGP one day, 2021, and I found so many girls who were interested in the sport that I just never even knew that that was a thing. And now, knowing the people who I know and having the experiences that I've experienced wouldn't have happened if I hadn't have searched up. So we need to get to a stage where you don't have to look up. It's just there.
It's
You
just
see
there
it.
in
It
your
gets
face.
pushed in your direction. And that's what happened with F1. I just constantly get it everywhere. And now I'm not invested in the championship, but I follow it. I keep up to date with what's going on. I know signings. I know who's doing what. And it's
Yeah.
all because it's there and it's easily accessible. I didn't have to go looking for it like I did with MotoGP. Now with MotoGP, I know where to look. I follow enough now that everything gets put my way, but
Yeah.
it needs to be easier and more accessible.
Yeah.
And yeah, if we can get it so that it's almost an even split, would be absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, like I don't watch F1. I could go on my phone right now, go on any social media platform, and within 10 posts, I'd find an F1 post. I guarantee you.
Yeah, same.
And
My, I don't want to say her name, but I have a wee Amazon thing in my room because it'll turn on if I say her name.
all right,
And on a Sunday, she'll be like, "Do you want to know the F1 updates?"
that's mental.
So
Really?
if I haven't watched
That's
the race, I can be like,
crazy.
"Oh yeah, oh
Tell
actually,
me.
yeah, I do want to know. Tell me what's going on."
That's mad.
Like they'll send little prompts and stuff like
And
that.
Google have integrated Formula One into, like, I don't know, if a football match is on, and you could type in,
Mm.
say, Liverpool versus Chelsea,
Yeah.
it'll tell you how many minutes have played and then the current score.
It's
They've
like a
also
proper widget.
integrated that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've integrated Formula One into that, and you can see the current, like the last lap, basically live timing on Google, how many laps they've done, the positions, how many pit stops they've done, just from typing in Formula One into Google, and you've got live timing right there, right in front of your face as a widget. Whereas it makes it so accessible, whereas MotoGP isn't that accessible, as we know.
No.
And then, you find that, I don't know, getting into MotoGP is a bit more difficult because of how inaccessible it is. And realistically, the only people that get into MotoGP are people with, well, family members or friends who are into the sport. And then it's about how you get women into the sport as well, because like I've got so many female friends who are all into F1 that 2-3 years ago didn't even know what it was, or just were like, I don't really care about this sport, whatever,
Yeah.
my dad
Yeah.
watches it every Sunday on TV, whatever, and now they're the ones into it. So then how do we attract an audience like that into MotoGP? And I think that's the hard part.
That is the difficult part because that's what I was trying to sort of get to earlier, is that you can't just copy and paste the formula of what's gone right with F1. You can't just try and do that again. MotoGP tried it with the docu-series that it did, and then obviously that flopped a little bit, although the series itself was fantastic.
I thought it was great. Yeah.
The rollout of it just didn't hit the way that they wanted to, or maybe our expectations were too high. I'm not sure. But it didn't go the intended way. So unfortunately, we do have to sort of go back to the drawing board. And I think it's very easy for us to say they need to copy F1, and they need to do this, and they need to do that, because I do understand that it's a lot harder than that. Because I mean, we make content and we post, and it doesn't happen overnight. You don't just instantly get success and have people follow you and trust your opinions and trust your sources
Yeah.
and stuff like that. You need to build that up. And I think it is heading in the right direction, definitely. So maybe with the likes of, there's an F1 movie coming out next year, these sorts of
Yeah.
things, the more ITV picks up MotoGP on a Sunday, not just for the British race weekend, even the national series, like being at Oldham Park at the weekend. Of course, a lot of it is sort of lads and their dads sort of thing, but there is definitely more female presence, I've noticed anyway. Or again, maybe it
That's
is
good.
just because I know a lot more people now, but I think it's definitely heading in the right direction. Like Oldham Park was packed, so even if we could get more support into the national series, that would help maybe people jump into, oh, there's World Superbikes on. Tommy Bridewell's doing what am I
World
trying to say?
Superbike.
Yeah. He's
A
doing a
wild
wild
card
card,
ride.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the one
Yep.
at
Cremona,
Cremona this weekend. So maybe people who are watching
like
at home who have
Tommy.
never thought about watching World Superbikes will go, oh, well, Tommy's going to be there this weekend. Maybe I'll
See how
put it
Tommy
on. I
gets
have
on. Yeah.
Discovery Plus anyway to watch BSB, so I'll pop it on. You can get MotoGP now on Discovery Plus too. So it is definitely heading in the right direction. With both being on this weekend, though, it is quite difficult, but I think, yeah, it is heading in the right direction, and it is getting more accessible. And hopefully, if we keep doing what we're doing, etc., that will help as well.
Yeah. And having the women's series, I think, is really important.
I love it. I think it's
Definitely.
great.
Yeah. It's great
It's
racing. Yeah.
yeah, it is
Fantastic.
fantastic. The finishes are so close every time, and stuff like that shows that. I think it opens the doors as well, because obviously I've mentioned the fact that F1's a lot more balanced gender wise, whereas MotoGP and all that isn't. It kind of opens the door that it's acceptable, in inverted commas, shall we say,
Yeah.
for girls to watch the sport as well. It's not a man's sport. It's not a man's game. It's inclusive for everybody, and
Yeah.
anybody can watch it no matter what. And I think that in itself is really important for the
Yeah.
growth of the sport in the future.
It's the fans as well. You can't gatekeep something that's not yours to gatekeep, sort of
Yeah.
thing. It just, yeah, a lot of people sort of have a bad attitude on it, and maybe hearing the likes of Liberty is going to take over. There's people who are being very negative about it already.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, I can even talk about, say, when sprint races were introduced. I use this for an example. I was like, no, I hate the
Yeah.
idea. And now I'm like, oh, well, you know, I actually
It's
quite
exciting.
enjoy it. It's kept the
Yeah.
championship exciting. Okay, maybe I was wrong, sort of thing. It has
What?
provided entertainment value. That's the only time I'm ever going to say that, but
You gotta make a
but
clip
that's
out
the
of that.
thing. That's the thing of like, yeah, people are quick to judge and people are quick to assume, and people hearing, oh, Liberty's taking over, oh, we don't want women in our sport. Name the last 17 million world champions. Oh no,
Yeah.
you can't. Who won BSB in 1974? I couldn't tell you,
No idea.
but you know,
That it's
come
the
on.
same energy as these guys, where if they see a woman wearing a band T-shirt,
I was thinking
they'll be
that.
like,
Yeah,
name 3 songs by Pink Floyd,
yeah,
and then like if they can't, if they just like the T-shirt, even if they can, they're still like, it's the
Right.
intent
Yeah.
behind it, you know. It's
yeah.
like just quit it, like.
But even I find myself
Stop.
sometimes, like my dad will be like, "Oh, Lauren knows so much about bikes, and she'll tell you everything. She's got her finger on the pulse." And I automatically go, "No, don't say that. Don't say
Yeah.
that to people," because I'm worried. I'm like, what if they ask me something and I don't know the answer, and they're going to be like, "Look at her.
Yeah.
She's
Woman,
just
yeah.
yeah,
It's
Yeah.
like,
exactly."
well, my sister, for example, is a mechanic for one of the biggest brands in the world. And I remember I did a track day the other year with Danny Buchan and brought some, like, I wasn't on track with Danny Buchan, but organized the whole thing. Danny was there with this guy who came from her workplace as well. And he was like, she's the best there by a mile and all that. But she was like, my sister was like, customers and all that will come in and just be like, can I speak to somebody
Yep.
else? Can I speak to you?
Yeah,
Even though she's the best on there. And they're like, you don't know anything about it and all that. And I think maybe changing that
yeah,
stigma of it as well will help with the sport, because then it will open the doors for people to be like, oh, I can look at this sport and watch the sport and be accepted in the sport the same way women are accepted in F1 for being fans and stuff like that. And, you know, the women's series helped with that one, the W series. That helped with that. And I think the new series, World's WCR, will probably help with that a lot as well.
yeah. There's some fantastic female content creators for F1 too,
Yeah.
and I think MotoGP is definitely heading in the right direction. I think Renita Vermeulen is one that jumps to my mind straight away, who makes good
Yeah.
TikTok videos that are really informative, and she talks on the OMG
Oh,
podcast.
yeah, I know what you mean now. Yeah.
Yeah. She follows our page too. She's absolutely lovely, and I've never spoken to her, but she supports every single thing that I see pop up, whether it be some of our stuff or stuff that I've done with the siding lap. And I just think that's really nice too. Is
Mm,
one thing, but like more informative videos like that from women is also going to help to show that we do know what we're talking about, and
yeah.
that it's a good thing. More
Yeah.
fans is better. I hate to
Yeah.
break it to you, whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
You don't have to always consume every single little thing that gets said.
No.
So you can watch on a Sunday and turn your TV off, and you don't care how many fans there are watching MotoGP. But for the people who do care, it's important that it grows.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. I also noticed something very interesting the other day. I wasn't really going to talk about it. I was going to stay away from it, but I did find it really interesting because obviously we're in a new era of MotoGP now where times have changed. Different riders are in the sport now. Different riders who may have been at the top of the sport for so long aren't in the sport anymore.
I knew you were going
And
to bring this
so
up.
fans have newer fans have a different perspective of this, because newer fans may not have seen an older rider in the early 2000s dominate and see why people liked them and have that affinity to that rider of why people like them. So from the sidelines, they'll look in and see comments that are made on a podcast, for example, and they'll have a different opinion to what a fan who, say, watched Rossi throughout the 2000s would have. And I found that quite interesting because it'll make... We talk about the sport and growing the sport and also, the pre-existence of the sport, because obviously it's been going for, say, 60, 70 years now. Well, 75 years. And Lewis Duncan at Crash.net now did a really good article talking about Valentino Rossi and the comments he made on the podcast, stating that he basically risks tarnishing his legacy with the Marc Marquez conspiracy theory, because Rossi went on Migno's podcast, discussed 2015 and didn't hold back, saying that Marquez and Emilio were basically trying to do it. Alzamora, that is Emilio and Alzamora, trying to make sure that Rossi lost the title. And then when Rossi got the back of the grid penalty, Mark looked at Emilio and was like, yes, like, we've done this kind of thing. And, Lewis Duncan was like, made an article about it saying it risks tarnishing his legacy, because it's been 9-10 years now since it's going on and Rossi's still talking about it, whereas kind of everybody else has moved on. And he went under the point, and I found it quite interesting that, obviously, I'm now quoting the article, saying that Ross is one of motorsport's most powerful historical figures, and the impact he has on the landscape is still sizable. But because of new fans now that are coming into it, how much of a changing fan base will a challenging fan base care about Rossi's history and what is on the sport, when all they see is an old rider showing little grace in defeat of something that happened too long ago? And I found it quite interesting, purely because if you get a fan who's watched the sport for 20 years now, they look at Rossi and go, legend, GOAT, greatest of all time, absolutely love him to bits, nice guy. And it's so interesting to me to then see newer fans who've been in the sport 5 years, 3 years, for example, and the new sport, as it heads into this new direction, potentially gets new fans, of how newer fans may look at Rossi in the complete polar opposite manner of being, like you say, a grumpy old man yelling at a cloud kind of thing is a meme I think about.
Yeah.
But I just thought that was something interesting I wanted to bring up on the podcast, about how, obviously everything's perspective anyway, but how both people could see the Rossi's kind of career and his accolades that he's done, but have completely different opinions on the man based on when they kind of started watching the sport.
Go for it, Lauren. Go on. I'll say my piece. You say your piece. You go first.
I have so many different thoughts and opinions on this, to be honest. I think number one, he shouldn't have done it. He shouldn't have gone on Minu's podcast and let him ask those sorts of questions. Like, this guy is media trained and has, people in his corner who should have went, do you really think that that's a smart idea to talk about this subject 9 years after the fact? Clearly that conversation never happened, and clearly Valentino himself said, yep, no, we can talk about absolutely everything. And then it took a bit of a sour turn, obviously, and it still obviously plays very heavily in Valentino's mind, which, fair enough, because in the Marc Marquez documentary, the all-in one that came out quite recently, he also talks about the incident and his side of it, not as in depth as what Valentino went into the podcast, but we do hear Mark's sort of side of things, and we hear him speak about it for the first time in quite a long time as well. So I think they're sort of even in that sense, that they've both spoken about it in recent years and sort of shed light on how they're both still feeling about it. I think it is time maybe to build a bridge and quite simply get over it. You don't have to be friends with each other. That's totally cool, but we don't need to talk about it anymore. I think is maybe my biggest opinion on the matter. I just think it was unnecessary to bring it up. We know what each other think about it. It's clear to see that it still plays very fresh in both of their minds. So yeah, I just don't think they should have done it. I wouldn't listen to the interview I don't understand Italian anyway, but obviously I watched the clips that it spoke about Marquez, but yeah, I wouldn't care for it much, to be honest, to listen to it. I think of Valentino Rossi the way that he was when he was racing. And if he wants to go ahead and say these things now, that's not going to change my opinion of him. He's not racing in MotoGP anymore. I don't mind that he wants to go off and say things like that. I will remember his legacy the way that I have it now.
Yeah.
I know not everyone's going to do it like that, but that's what I think. Marc Marquez, on the other hand, hasn't retired yet. He is still creating, new memories in MotoGP and is getting new fans and is doing what he's doing so well this season. So,
Yeah.
as someone who maybe sat on the Rossi side of the fence all those years ago, you cannot deny what Marquez is doing now. So I think it's pointless to bring up an incident that happened 9 years ago because they're not the same guys that they were. And it
No.
also
Yeah.
plays
No.
no relevance in what's going on at the minute. So yeah, to cut a very long-winded opinion short, that's basically it. Yeah. Why did they do it?
I mean, I think like ultimately this 2015 controversy, whatever you want to call it, like it's only such a big deal and considered like a conspiracy because of how attached people get to like the stories of things, right? If Rossi had won the 2014 title and 2013 or whatever, if it hadn't been 6 years since Rossi had last won a title, I don't think this would have been as big a deal.
Yeah.
It would have still been a thing, but I don't think it would have quite had the same punch of like this was Ross's last chance to get that 10th title.
Especially after Ducati as well.
Yeah, exactly. It was like
I think
a whole
the big
thing.
They were friends though. That Marquez said he had
it's friends
posters
to
and all up
enemies,
in
wasn't
his
it?
room, and
Yeah.
people played into that massively.
Yeah,
Rossi
totally.
accused him of
Rossi
lying.
did it as
And then
yeah,
Marquez's mom had
exactly.
to post a photo and go, "No, this is his bedroom. Look."
But that's the
Yeah.
thing. Rossi's a mind game sort of guy, so he was like, "Nah, I don't believe him." Which, to be fair, I'd probably say the same thing. I'd be like, "Yeah, whatever,
Yeah.
sure."
And like, and that's it. It's all to do with the stories of all of this. So I am or am that fan that grew up watching in the early 2000s and sort of saw the rise of Rossi and was like, that was the idol, and I was enamored by that, and like, yeah, I was like a big Rossi fan. And at the time in 2015, when it was this chance for him to have this sort of mega comeback, basically as an old man at that point in the sport, like it really emotionally gripped me 2015 and the events that occurred. And then since then, Rossi's retired and Marquez has had his own redemption story, right? And now I find myself on the side of rooting for Marquez, which 2015 me would have been like, you
Are you
traitor,
feeling okay?
what are you doing? Yeah, right? And I think, it takes a sort of lack of self-awareness to think that, like you say, like nobody really cares anymore. Things have moved on. It doesn't matter. We didn't need to talk about it. There's new stories. There's new personalities. There's other stuff going on now where people are like,
why are you bringing
all
this
you're
up?
doing is like you're flogging a dead horse, as you said earlier, Lauren. Like it's just wasn't needed.
I think people are doing it too because we don't get that anymore. 2015 was like the last real year of like, oh my god, there were sides and you had to pick a side, and
and Rossi and Lorenzo
I
are
don't know.
teammates as well, and
exactly, and
they
that
didn't
was
like
very
each other that
sour.
much.
No, and then Lorenzo obviously ended up winning the championship, which I think a lot of people forget too, that he was involved in it as well. So
yeah, he still had to win that race.
Yeah, it wasn't just Rossi Marquez. You had Jorge Lorenzo in there too.
But
I mean, all those years from when Marquez stepped into the championship, it was always going to boil over, and unfortunately, it went the way that it did. But honestly, now I'm more invested in thinking, oh, Marquez and Pecco Bagnaia are going to be teammates next year. And I'm not thinking that as of oh, he's a VR46 rider and he's Marc Marquez who doesn't get along with Valentino Rossi.
Yeah.
I'm thinking these guys are at the top of their game. Well, Marquez is getting back to the top of his game. Well, it looks like he is. And they're going to be on the factory bikes next year. Ducati have made a big decision to sort of drop their younger talent and have signed this guy, 8-time world champion. He's trying to redeem himself. You've got Pecco Bagnaia, could be a 3-time MotoGP world champion by the time next year rolls around. I'm so much more invested in that. Like, that's a script that writes itself. I really want to see that. Oh, is Jorge Martin going to take the number 1 plate to Aprilia next year? I really hope he does, because that's going to create fireworks.
Yeah.
That is so much more interesting. Talk about the now and not 9 years ago. There's so many stories that we could sit and talk about, and that we do talk about, that are so much more interesting, and we can sit here and think, oh, I wonder what's going to happen here. And the championship's close. It's not even over for this year. Why are we not talking about that? Like, Rossi could have went on and spoke about that in the podcast, and I would have found that so much more interesting than rehashing something that's just so irrelevant. And it wasn't necessary.
And it's interesting to me because he still goes on about this thing, obviously. He did actually a really good interview, Rossi did, a few years ago with quite a famous podcaster called Graham Benzinger. It's really good. Talked about Simoncelli and like how massive the loss of Simoncelli was for Rossi, and then he went into 2015 as well and felt like it was a betrayal, stuff like that. Marquez touched on it with his Amazon documentary as well, and how he felt like Rossi turned everyone on him. And it's an interesting year, really, because I mean, Danny Pedrosa and Rossi had a bit of an altercation a little bit, because Rossi even believed that Danny was racing him extra hard at Aragon when they had that infamous battle again to hinder him in the championship fight. And it felt like Rossi was using his mind games, and then it was just kind of not working, and then imploding on him, and then obviously blew up in his face. And now there's the anger because they lost the championship, felt like wasn't fair, and people played against him and stuff like that. And then he tried his mind games that have always worked, and this year it just didn't work against Marc Marquez. And then, but the fact that he's still going on about it, and he has his Riders Academy, and has 4 riders in MotoGP, maybe 5 if you count Digia. It's interesting because you see Rossi in other riders. Bagnaia is very good at staying away from it. He has his own opinions, and he gets on with Mark, and they'll never be best of friends, but they get on.
No.
Whereas a rider like Marco Bezzecchi, who may be a bit more influenced by Rossi because he was his idol and stuff like that, and it was his dream to ride for Rossi's team. You saw him as soon as Pecco and Alex Marquez collided. Bezzecchi was there putting his 2 cents in and stuff like that, because a Marquez was involved, and every time there's a Marquez involved, someone from the VR46 Riders Academy seems to pip up. And it does feel a little bit like it's still going on. And the fact that you can go on Minio's podcast and say all these things, it does make me wonder about what's being said and done behind the scenes. And the fact that Rossi was also quite upset that Marquez got the factory Ducati seat over all his VR46 Riders Academy riders. And of course, there's a bias. Of course, there would be. You've got your own Riders Academy after all, and there'll be a bias against Marquez because you don't like him. Rossi doesn't like Mark.
Yeah.
But then it does make me wonder about what the conversations are going behind the scenes, especially when Bezzecchi's so fast to go and, shout at Alex Marquez when he wasn't even involved in the incident.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do that with both Marquez's.
Yeah,
though.
100%.
Like, as soon as something happens that they're involved in it, it was
Marquez
their
again.
fault.
The Crash Kez brothers.
It's true.
Literally. Everyone sort of said that comment. Oh, Mark's got to the front, and at the start of the season, you know, he's going to crash. Oh, he's going to cause an incident. Bowl and ball, like, no.
Yeah.
It's just, I think it of course, he still heavily influences these guys, because you think about it, they're still training all the time. Rossi's obviously the owner of the VR46 squad. So, these guys obviously think one thing on the Marc and not the Marc Marquez's. The Marquez brothers obviously think something different, but yeah, I think you could take it as far as Italy versus Spain, because a lot of the young Spaniards, say maybe David Alonso, etc., who looked up to Marc Marquez when they were growing up, it's maybe just a different generation thing, because
That's true.
Marco Bezzecchi grew up wanting to be Valentino Rossi. But
Yeah.
if you ask David Alonso, when he was growing up, he wanted to be Marc Marquez. So
Yeah. You look at the crop
could
of Rebel
just be,
rookies and they all want to be Mark.
yeah,
Yeah.
could just be a generation age thing of like,
Yeah.
people who are closer to my age would have grown up watching Valentino Rossi and he was the idol. But yeah, in 2015, he was the old guy that was trying to, be his last chance, etc., etc. Whereas Marquez was the young gun, and the younger kids were sort of going, "Oh, look at this, the young talent. He's risen to the top, etc., etc." So that's another perspective on it too. That even the guys in the paddock probably just think the way that they think because it's an age thing, and that's what they were brought up knowing. So
Yeah.
Good
That's
point.
true.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah, it's all very interesting. There's so many politics. At the end of the day, 2015 is just a mess that no one's right and no one's wrong. I mean, some people can be very wrong, to be honest, but I don't think it's ever going to be kind of solved. But I
no, and
don't
we weren't
think
there. So we're
exactly.
never going to know. And the only people who are ever going to know exactly what happened is Valentino Rossi and Marc Marquez. And that's
Yeah,
it.
yeah,
And they obviously, we hear somewhat of their opinions and how they feel about it. But at the end of the day, none of us. And that's obviously going to be very different now, 9 years down the line. Like they're both going to remember that very differently. So again, talking about it now, they're going to say very different things about it.
yeah.
So
And then bringing up it on a podcast, saying all these things. Like I saw a post again because I go on about the fact that new era fans would look at this quite differently to older fans. I saw something on Twitter. I screenshotted it and was like, geez, somebody put. So Rossi's quote is, "That's it. It's simply we are telling the facts." Rossi was basically saying that everything he's just said was factual, and someone said the best part with an Enea Bastianini fan account, by the way, said the best part about Valet on Migno's podcast so far for me is when he says this. Okay, we're telling the facts. After several straight minutes of hearsay and speculation so outrageous and deranged that it borders on defamation.
Defamation. Oh my goodness.
And I was just like, whoa. But
do you know what's
That's the
funny?
facts.
Yeah. I've seeing all this F1 content on my timeline these days. I actually seen a tweet the other day that was like, "You guys should watch MotoGP because
yeah, I
you would
saw that.
never, ever, ever get over what happened in 2015. If you guys think F1 has all this rivalry, it is nothing on
Yeah.
MotoGP in 2015. Like you would not be able to comprehend what went on and what goes on to this
Still
day.
to this day, yeah.
Yeah." And everyone's
That's
like,
it.
what? And I was tempted to reply and be like, yeah, no, you need to,
You need to check
For
it
sure.
need to
out.
learn about this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Watch
but
the
it
whole
goes
season, start to finish.
I
Yeah.
was going to say,
All the
because it
press
goes so much
conferences
deeper
and
than anything. But yeah, I don't think Rossi is doing anything to help himself bringing it up because Marquez is over it. It's done. Hatchet's buried. Marquez has got on with it. And Rossi's quit the sport and now he's racing cars. And yet Migno gives him a platform to talk about his career and then that's gone on. He could have gone, what happened in 2015? Rossi could have just gone, although they're bodies, Migno and Rossi could have gone, well, I've spoken about this before. I lost the championship. I'm not too happy about what happened, but that happened and we move on. But no, instead he digs right deep in that with
Yeah,
a
yeah.
blimmin'
I
massive
wouldn't have even,
excavator and kind of it's like just unearths all this chaos again, and you're like I've just
yeah.
searched Rossi's name, and about 7 different podcasts, Motor Matters, Crash.net, have all talked about it, and now we're talking about it
No, we're talking
again.
about it.
And it's like, why have you done this, Rossi?
Maybe
Well,
it's
it's something to
intentional.
talk about. Yeah, well, that's true.
Yeah.
It keeps everyone relevant. But at the same time, I wonder now if they're going to speak to Marc Marquez about it.
I guarantee you'll get a
press this
question in
week.
the press conference.
Yeah. But the other thing was, I think that Rossi could have just went, look, everyone knows how I feel about 2015. I still feel the same way about 2015. I still feel like I was robbed. But that's that.
Yeah.
You're not going to change it now. Talking about it now isn't going to...
Yeah,
Everyone's going to go back and go, maybe we should disqualify Marc Marquez 10 years later and give you the championship.
Yeah.
That's not going to happen. So, yeah, it's interesting. And it's easy for us to say they should just get over it. But
Yeah, and like I
I'm
still
sure
remember
Mark's
all the
probably had a load of conversations with his close friends about it, because he will have seen it and people will bring it up to him. So
yeah.
I wish we had a fly on the wall for those conversations, because I want to know how he feels about it now. Now that we've heard that,
like
we need to get Marc
really
Marquez.
feels. Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
Jorge
'cause
Lorenzo doing a podcast or something. Get him and Marquez on. I'd love to hear what
and
the two of
Danny.
them would have to say about it. And a wee lie
Yeah.
detector test. And I just get the four of them in the room and see what's
That's-
going on.
Because
Octagon.
it was crazy. Like I still remember all the profile pictures of people saying Oisto Con Valley, even like Feni Romano Fenati have an Oisto Con Valley, which is I'm with Rossi, in Italian, and all that. All of their profile pictures. Franco Morbidelli had it. Pecco had it. They all had profile pictures of I'm with Valentino Rossi, and it was such a massive fallout that still goes on today. Apparently, you bury the hatchet and it kind of gets brought back up, but I do think it's something that's going to carry on forever. But again, like I was saying, Rossi's left the sport. He's now racing cars. He's just on the podium at Fuji at the weekend and stuff like that. Like, do you really need to bring it back up again 9 years later, or like what? Just go see a therapist or something, bro. Like, sort it out, man. Like, geez, do we have to trauma dump on us again? Like, what?
Yes, it seems. Yeah.
Maybe, do you know when Rossi retired and Biaggi was like, I know we didn't get on at the time, but maybe now we can sit and talk over a glass
have
of
a
wine or
drink,
something
yeah.
like that. I wonder when Marquez retires, is Rossi going to say that?
No
to him?
chance.
No
chance.
way.
That would
I'm
be
waiting
so
for you on
funny if
four
he
wheels,
did.
mate. Go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
come join the car racing.
I think what's reignited this a little bit is Rossi seeing Marquez do well on the Ducati, and suddenly
Yeah.
that 9 titles is under threat again.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
I'm a
it
9-time
is,
champion, you've
definitely.
got 8. That's under threat. If Rossi can get in Mark's head and use Pecco as leverage to get in Mark's head as well, but that's also a possibility.
The two of them are the best at mind games. Like, it's quite literally the best in the world.
Well,
I
Mark
don't
has
know
beat
what
Rossi
they're
at his own
doing.
game.
Well, that's the thing. But maybe Rossi played himself is the thing. Like, I think he got in his own head about all that. I think that's why he is still so hung up on it. But yeah, you could be right. The way that Pecco's getting on, you've seen it. He's not been that happy with Marquez in the past, but then he's telling the fans to stop booing him in Misano. He's never done that before.
I think Pecco's a bit over it as well, you know.
I think
Pecco wants
so,
to do his
but-
own thing.
But then you never know, because conversations go on behind closed doors. We don't know what Pecco and Valentino are saying to each other. This is what I mean.
Yeah, it's
With,
so
like,
deep. It's unreal.
speculation, and we can make up new little stories.
Yeah.
Like, it could be, like, it genuinely could be, or we could sound so, well, I could sound so delusional right now of like, it could all be a massive start of new mind games that are going to happen next year, because
I mean,
yeah,
I feel like Pecco would want to keep away from the mind games because I think he knows he'd get cooked. Like,
but maybe he's trying to get better at it. Maybe he's like, Valentino,
well, maybe
go talk about Marquez on the podcast. Like,
yeah, that's it. Like, pressure. I mean, Pecco's not the best of pressure, so pressure and Marc Marquez in his ear is probably not the best.
Yeah, I think he just wants to keep that chill. Like, just
let's
not
go
remember,
there.
Yeah,
as a factory Ducati team as well, the last thing Tadozzi's going to want, Domenicali is going to want, is seeing their 2 top riders squabbling it out and doing all this and causing damage to the brand's reputation. Ducati's a brand of class, of refinery, of luxury and all that. So then have their top riders kind of squabbling it out is just gonna, it's not gonna look well on the brand, and that could damage reputation as well.
Tacky.
So
wait till they get on track though, and that all unravels anyway.
Yeah, I mean, you saw what happened with Dovi and Iannone at the end of the day when Iannone took out Dovi. That Iannone got sacked on that day, pretty much. Ducati are ruthless with that, and even if Pecco is causing chaos and Mark's leading the championship, they will get rid of Pecco because he's bringing Ducati's stock price down at the end of the day if he was to cause enough chaos, obviously.
That's my biggest conspiracy for next year, but that's a whole different
Yeah.
kettle of
Yeah.
fish.
Fair
But
enough.
I can't. Basically, the way to end all that, I can't wait to see how it plays out. I hope Pecco can continue to be his own man and not be influenced by outside talk, which is what he does already. He's kind of just deals with it himself, and I hopefully he continues to do that. Fights his own battles, races his own race, has his own opinion of Marc Marquez that isn't kind of created from other people telling him things, and can be as cordial or as angry at Marquez as he wants from his own experiences rather than somebody else's.
You tell him. Get
Yeah,
that clip
I'll tell
and
him.
over.
I'll send it to Becca later on. But yeah, I think that's time for predictions, maybe.
Oh, let's go. Go on
After
then.
all that,
Yeah, so Mazzano
get to the
to
predictions.
Moto 3. We've got pole position, please. Cameron.
Me, you're asking? Oh, man.
Who got it last time?
It's hard.
Alonso.
Yeah.
Who won last time?
It's
In Moto 3.
Keras
It
after a
was.
long lap
Oh
penalty.
yeah. How did I forget after
Was
I
it double long
literally
lap penalty?
went on about him for ages? Yeah.
Yeah, it was double. I've got some cool stuff to tell you after the predictions as well.
Okay. I think I'm just going to roll with statistics and give Alonso another pole, please.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Are you doing the same, Lauren?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Right. And third place, please, Lauren.
Ooh. I don't know. Alonso.
Only third. Interesting.
He
And
was
Cameron?
7th last time.
True.
Furusato, please.
Oh.
Yeah. I love his new
Yeah.
merchandise line, man.
I know, it's so cool.
So
Hell
cool.
yeah.
I'm
Looks
buying
great.
one of
Yeah,
those t-shirts. 100%.
definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And then I've got Colin Via third. And I'll stick with me
Solid.
for Holgado in second. David Alonso's new teammate, of course, finally announced now.
Oh, yeah.
Cameron second.
Holgado, I was like, what?
Me
Yeah.
second.
Yeah.
I'll have Alonso second, please.
Okay. And Lauren?
Figueras.
Interesting. I've got Alonso to win. Cameron?
I'm going Piqueras to win because it's hard to
Whoa.
ignore a win after two double long
Oh.
lap penalties.
Yeah,
Come on.
I was thinking
God.
I did have him, but swapped him out. And Lauren?
I'm going to go with Danny Holgado.
Okay.
I think we've all sort of gone, well, apart from
Similar.
Furusato, we've literally put the same podium, but just in
And
different
Via.
orders.
Furusato and Via,
Oh,
yeah.
well, never mind.
I mean, first that was fourth. So
Yeah, he was. Good point. Right, Moto 2 pole, please. Cameron. It was Arbolino in
it was
Lano 1.
Arbolino.
Arbolino.
Let's have Canet this time around.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Agura and Lauren.
I'm going to stick with Vietti, who's who
Okay.
I had the last time,
Yeah.
in the hopes that it'll actually do it this time.
Good luck. Third, I've gone Arbolino again because I think he can match what he did last time out. Cameron.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same wavelength there, to be honest.
Okay.
Please.
And Lauren.
I'm going to go with Jake Dixon.
Okay.
Also,
in the hopes that he
a
can
shout.
get his qualifying under
Sorted
control,
out.
because he went P14 to P5, so
Yes,
clearly had
that's true.
pace.
That's a good point. Okay, and second place, I've actually gone Dixon. So
You've
I
just
was
done
gonna
that
go
because I've
Dixon,
just said
but-
that.
I was going to go
Cameron?
Dixon there, but I've.
Lauren's made such a good point, so maybe put
once.
Dixon's on.
Well, you know.
I'll have. Who did I say third? Arbolino.
Arbolino.
Yeah. I'll have Canet again in second. I think I'm just going to end up doing last week's podium.
Nice. Okay, and Lauren?
I'm going to have a Guru in second, please.
Okay. Well, I've got a Guru to win. Cameron's got a Guru to win, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. And Lauren?
I'm fully back on board the Tony Arbolino hype train, so
Okay, she's on that
I back
train.
him this week. He did lead
Nice.
for a while last week, so I'm hoping he can actually convert it this time.
Well, there has been a rumour of his next year's teammate. So it was meant to be, the rumour was Pramac Moto2 Yamaha with Sasaki. It's now Pramac Moto2 Yamaha with Guevara, is the rumour.
Did hear that?
Okay.
Yeah. Don't know if it was you that told me that, actually.
Not sure. Maybe. I put up my story, close friend story.
Oh, maybe that's what it was.
Maybe, yes.
How do you qualify to be a close friend story of everything motor racing?
You pay for it. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
I don't pay for it.
Because then you get, but you're on the podcast, so you get additional information. For example, you get rumours ahead of time, like the ones going on about Carpe in Moto3 and the Tech 3 lineup for next year and things like that in Moto3. So, yeah. Right, so the GP poll.
Okay.
What were you saying, Cameron?
Martin, I think he's going to really have something to prove.
Okay. I've gone Bagnaia. Lauren, I'm assuming you go Martin.
Well, I had fully backed Martin last time out. And the time before that, I'd fully backed Pecco. So now I don't know what to do because Pecco obviously messed up.
Yeah.
And then last week, Jorge Martin messed up. So now I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place at the minute. I don't know where to go. I don't know who to trust because you can simply trust none of them. Do you know what? Yeah, we'll go Martin.
Okay. Martin poll. Right. Sprint race winner. I've gone Martin again.
Yeah,
and
same.
Cameron, and Lauren.
All right. Well, if you both think that, I'll stick for once. Yeah.
Okay. You got Martin as well. Okay.
Cool.
Right. Third place, please, Lauren. Bastianini last time out.
I had Pecco in third the last time out. Oh man. Oh, I actually don't know. Can someone else go first?
All right, I'll go first with Bagnaia.
Third?
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm sounding outraged. I literally went third last week.
I think I'm going to say Marc in third.
Marquez. Okay. And Lauren?
Martin.
Okay. Second, I've gone Martin. Cameron.
Yeah, same.
Okay. And Lauren?
Pecco.
Okay. I have gone for a three-peat with Marquez to win. Cameron?
That would be sick, but I feel like Pecco will win it or bid it because he's got to leave Misano with a win.
That's true.
If we've come here twice this season, he's got to.
That's true.
Got to do it. So yeah,
You've gone
for the win, please. Yeah.
And Lauren?
I've gone with Enea Bastianini.
Yeah, I can see that. Genuinely
Could
can
happen.
see that. Yeah.
I battled here a couple of
It's
years
real
ago.
hot. Yeah.
It's true. It's true. He's got a really good late race pace as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, interesting one.
I'm not sensing any rain. Well, Apple weather's not sensing any rain, so
No.
It's true. Right, do you want to hear some cool information?
Yeah.
Here's
always.
some fun information for you. So I didn't say it in last pod, but the Carpe, who won the Rebel Rookies Cup,
Yeah.
won the championship via a long lap penalty for Pinney, who gained a long lap penalty, and his final race position demoted Brian Uriarte from the championship win to second place and allowed Carpe to win the championship by gaining him points, which is a weird one.
So it's like steward's office kind of
So
decided the title
Pinney
in a way.
kind of, I think it was on track. I didn't watch it, but this is just what I got told, that because he got demoted positions, Pinney, it promoted Carpe up the standings or promoted him within the race and then allowed him to win, even though it was one at the last corner on the last lap. And yeah, it must have been a long lap penalty from another race that then demoted him meant that Carpe gained enough points to then overtake him.
Right.
So that's an interesting one. But the actual cool thing is that Pinney is actually teammates with Brian Uriarte in Junior GP. Pinney is, what's his first name? I can never remember his first name. He is an exceptional talent. Guido Pinney, that's it. Like, Italian rider, exceptional talent. They ride for the 72 Motorsports squad, which is a team of Emilio Alzamore, who obviously was Marc Marquez's manager for a long time.
Yeah.
And Pinney has done 4 races this season because he's been injured. He won his second ever race, got second place on debut, won his second ever race, got injured again in the rookies, came back, won his third ever race, and then finished off the podium in his fourth, and has shot up the standings, and going into the last 2 rounds could earn himself a dispensation to race in the Moto3 World Championship next year if he finishes in the top 3.
That's pretty
Just because
crazy.
he's won some races and barely done the season. But an
It's good
additional
form.
thing to that is Maximo Quiles didn't finish in the top 3 of the Red Bull Rookies this year, but did finish in the top 3 of the Red Bull Rookies last year. He is part of the Vertical Group, Marc Marquez and Alex Marquez's management company. So they managed Quiles. Quiles got a top 3 in the Red Bull Rookies last year and has gained a dispensation to race in the Moto3 World Championship next year. He could also get top 3 in Junior GP this year as a rookie. And when he turns 17, can race. And the rumour is that he'll go to Leopard to replace Angel Piqueras for next year. And again, Pinney and Quiles are 2 of the most talented riders coming out at the moment. I mean, Quiles won the European Talent Cup in his debut season when he was 13 years old. I think he's the youngest ever European Talent Cup champion.
These grades are getting so stacked.
And
honestly.
he was a midget. He's like shorter than Marc Marquez when he was in the Junior GP series, well, the CV series, and he won against some crazy names.
I think this is consequences of Dorna's own actions by raising the age limit to 18.
Yeah,
we were always
like
gonna come into this issue because all those kids that have moved up so young to get to the likes of the Red Bull rookie stages, etc., and are all winning, and it's sort of like, oh well, you're 16 and you technically can't come in now. So I don't know what they do
they
to
just
reverse
wait, I
it.
guess.
Is a bit strange. The
They've already done
compensation,
some stuff.
well, yeah, the compensation is also a bit strange to me because why is it okay then for some riders just because they're winning they can go into Moto 3 when it's meant to be a safety concern that the age is 18? Why just because you're winning can you now at 16 still enter the championship? Like, what if someone was 15 or 14 and they won the championship? Are you going to let them in?
So
it's a bit
The rule originally was if you win the Rookies or Junior GP, you get a dispensation and can race
Yeah.
at 17. 17 is the absolute minimum. So, like Maximo last year had to wait another year before he can join. David Alonso waited another year as well. But the dispensation was there years ago anyway, because you had to be 16 previously. But Chan Onsu and Dennis and David Alonso made their debuts at 15 because they won the Red Bull Rookies and gained that dispensation. Now they've changed it so the top 3 in Junior GP and Red Bull Rookies can get a dispensation. And so it allows for that funnel to open up again because you've got so many talented riders backed up. Like Brian Uriarte, for example, absolute unbelievable talent. And again, won races in junior. He won on his Junior GP debut at the weekend because, again, he's missed the whole season.
How old can you be to be in the Red Bull Rookies or Junior GP?
16. Junior GP, I think 16. Yeah, both 16, I'm sure. But again, to go into Junior GP and the Rookies, you can gain early, you can get a dispensation if you get top 3 in the European Talent Cup. But then you see riders at the front of the European Talent Cup winning races in the European Talent Cup, also winning races in the Red Bull Rookies. Because talent is just the same when it comes to the Red Bull Rookies, really. But again, you've got riders like Brian Uriarte, who wins on his Junior GP debut, who might not go up next year because he might be too young. And then again, although he's not too young because, well, he is too young potentially, despite having a dispensation because he might not be 17 yet. And therefore, he's backed up in Junior GP. And it's what happened to David Alonso, won Red Bull Rookies and stayed another year in Junior GP. But it is interesting to see these riders kind of, there's so much talent there. And this 72 Motorsports, who've only really been out for this year, all 4 races at the weekend. So both European Talent Cup races and both Junior GP races were won by Emilio Alzamora's team in Jerez, with one of them on his debut.
I'm just a bit worried that this will restart the age limit thing where they take it away and you can
I can
be
see
any
that.
age, and then something will happen again. Unfortunately, that will cause it to come back into place. That's what all the signs are leading towards. Like,
Yeah.
I don't care where you finished in the championship. The whole point of it is a safety concern. I don't like that. Like, what's the point then? Just because you're winning races? Because I get that they want the talent in Moto 3 and the funnel needs to be open to get these riders up so that new riders can come in. And it is a vicious cycle, and you do have to get the young riders up. So I sound a bit contradictory there to literally everything that I always say on the podcast of like, we need new young riders. But I hate the idea of like the age limit was there for a reason and it's been brought into place.
Yeah, I get that.
I don't like seeing big accidents with young kids.
I think it's
on motorbikes.
to stop riders and families spending lots of money to try and get their kid into the series.
Yeah,
I've just checked it.
True.
Uriarte is 16 still and is only 17 in August next year. So despite having a dispensation to ride, he cannot ride until next August. He's got the talent, that's proof. But he might have to wait another, well, he will have to wait another 11 months. And his family might have to fork out another 250 grand to race in that series.
Well,
whereas he
the
could
only
step
thing
up.
I can think of is if, okay, we reduce the age again of Moto 3, say, set it at 16. Moto 2 stays at 18 and MotoGP stays at 18. Or maybe you raise that. I'm not sure the answer to that, but I don't know. Bit of a weird one. I want to see the talent, but at what cost?
I think if you win the title, you can race at 16 because you've proven you have the level and therefore potentially the safety aspect of it, because you can safely win a championship.
Yeah,
to
you're
do
not
it
going to
at 16.
make those rash decisions. I mean, you can drive a car at 17 in the UK.
Exactly, yeah. Whereas
what age can you drive in Spain and Italy?
14, you can ride a moped in Spain, I'm sure of it. But
16 here in the UK.
Yeah.
So,
Whereas second and third, 17. and a hard limit on 17. But if you win the title of rookies or Junior GP, you can go up at 16. But you have to have proven that you can ride safety as well. For example, not have any incidents all year long that are your fault. Otherwise, it's 17. Not sure.
It's a tricky balancing act, isn't it?
Yeah, it
Yeah,
is.
because I understand that you can't be asking these families to fork out this sort of money and to beg sponsors, etc., to get involved too. Like, it's so much money, and I totally get that. And the sooner we can get the talent up and in, the better.
Yeah,
And
it's
get
just getting
funded
there.
seats, etc. But yeah, getting there is.
It's hard, especially when you got riders who aren't the age but have the talent to get there and should be there, like Brian Ariarte, for example. Like, the fact that he won his junior GP debut is insane. The talent is
it's pretty wild.
level is so high. The fact that his teammates done that as well, and both of them are too young, it's just unbelievable. The fact that, well, I mean, what's his name? Maximo Quiles got really unlucky because he won the old age limit for junior GP was 14. I remember Jaume Masia joining the class at 14 and being the youngest one there. Maximo Quiles joined the ETC at 12, won the title the same year when he turned 13, could have done another year and then moved up, or moved up halfway through the next year, but had to wait till he was 16 or 15, 2 more years in that class that he'd already won before he got dispensation to go to Junior GP. And by that time, he won a second title with Pinney winning the one in the middle that he didn't win. But again, imagine how much money his family had to spend to get him there and keep him there.
Maybe it's time to look at the grassroots as well.
Yeah, I think now
age limits on that.
As time progresses now, I think we're feeling it because we're in the first 6 years of that happening. But now we'll start to see older riders coming through and stuff like that. There will be riders that will stand out from the crowd because a European Talent Cup rider can race in the Red Bull Rookies at 16 or whatever it is and can win. Might be 14 for Red Bull Rookies, can't remember. Maybe 15. But, a younger rider can win there, and that's when you'll see, again, some riders will still get stuck there. But I think the dispensation at 17 is a good idea, despite it being about safety and them going against the safety kind of thing. So it is a double-edged sword, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I think that's all we've got time for.
I think so.
Been an hour and a half.
Solid.
An hour and a half? How did we manage that?
We keep doing an hour and a half episodes. It's crazy.
Yawn.
Just nice for people. Just nice for the listeners. Yeah.
That's it. Yeah. And it's gone dark again.
Yeah.
I know, I had my light turned on before we started recording this time.
I didn't.
You gotta get
I'm sat in a dark room.
Gotta get things set up as if you're already in the dark.
It's true. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed listening anyway, and we're back early next week with episode 8 after Misano and Cremona. Hopefully it'll be an interesting weekend. And then after that, it's the flyaways.
Remember to like, subscribe, bell icon, etc.
Follow us on Spotify.
Follow Spotify, socials, leave comments with your predictions or just thoughts on anything that we've chatted about in the last 90 minutes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Amazing.
Perfect. Thank you and goodbye.
Peace.
Bye.